Welcome one and all to episode 15 of Titan Teatime. I'm one of your hosts, Petter, and with me I have my co-host, James.
Hi.
We've upped our standards, so up yours.
Say what now?
I'm sorry, that was super lame. We are talking about chapter 132 of the Attack on Titan manga in this month's episode, and the chapter is called Wings of Freedom. Very nice name, I gotta say, just to kick it off.
Yeah, for sure. I thinking back on it, I just wonder what does that title mean for this chapter?
Yeah.
And I there's a few implications. One, that they were able to, spoilers, escape
Yeah.
with the plane or the flying boat.
Right.
But it also kind of harkens back to the Survey Corps and Hanji kind of being the last, except for Levi, but the kind of the last older member of the Survey Corps, um, and her passing the torch to Armin, which we'll discuss later. But
Yeah.
I think in that sense, maybe that's why it was named that way. Do you have any thoughts
Well, I
otherwise?
was also thinking about the plane potentially being
Yeah.
like wings, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and another one which is kind of similar to yours but not quite the same is, I mean, basically that it refers to what Hanji saw.
Okay.
She got to see Erwin and all of the other Survey Corps members who had passed away. Those were the
Yeah.
wings of freedom. So but yeah, like I guess this new younger generation is the new Survey Corps. So, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, uh, very good chapter, and there's a lot of different topics I'm excited to discuss
Indeed.
over the coming hour or two. So yeah, they reach Odiha beginning of the chapter. Not too surprising. They had been on that ship for two whole chapters,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we get well, they pull up the flying boat, and
Well,
Armin.
before we get there real quick, I know first page,
Yes,
but
right, right.
um, and we had predicted before that they were gonna be in Odiha, and this chapter was gonna take place there. I think we had basically said that, but it's
I
interesting
think
to
so.
me that there's nobody here. People they all left and everything like that. Not to say that didn't or this surprised me. I think it was just more that word of mouth of the rumbling travels pretty quickly, I guess. Um,
Well, I think telephones exist.
oh, do they really?
I think, or at least some kind of long distance communication, because I think in the Marley arc we got to see at least some military people use some kind of radio to
Oh yeah,
communicate.
yeah, I do. I
So
do remember
something
that.
along those lines.
Okay, so that could be, but it's still. I mean, how I just wonder like how far in advance did they have to prepare to evacuate everybody like that? You know,
Yeah, yeah,
and so
that's
part
true.
of part of me kind of go into theories already. Part of me wonders if the Eldian people somehow were able to get to Odiha, but that's a pretty far travel. So I don't know. I think, I mean, we could probably say it's almost safe to say that the Eldians that were in Marley are maybe dead, but it would be
I think
interesting.
so.
Would be interesting to see that um, they somehow made to Odiha and escaped with um, the people of Odiha, or maybe the Eldian people just were able to somehow escape another way. But
Hmm.
either way, I think it's probably safe to, or I think the safest bet is to say that they didn't make it. But
Yeah, we talked about that last chapter where I felt like the characters, the families of the warriors and whatnot, they
mm-hmm.
didn't deserve, or not, no, they didn't. Deserve is the wrong word. They didn't need uh, deaths that we, got to see on the pages of the,
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I'm pretty sure they are dead.
Yeah, if they're not here, then yeah,
Because
they're
we
they're
did get to
dead.
see, we literally saw last chapter Marley getting trampled.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, um, but yeah, that's interesting. They did somehow get the message though,
Yeah.
in Oreha to evacuate.
Yeah. So, and you're
So
probably right. It's probably some sort of long range communication.
I'm guessing so, yeah. But anyway, we get Armin wanting to keep the bombs around that were around the
Yes.
ship. I thought that was pretty interesting. Like he's got some. I don't think he knows yet.
Mm-hmm.
Or I mean, he literally says he doesn't. He isn't sure
Right.
how to use them. But this is a pretty clear Chekhov's gun. I think Isayama's putting it up on the
Right.
wall. It's going to be used at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see in what way.
Yeah. I was thinking the exact same thing.
Uh,
Not sure what, but I'm sure it'll be
right.
pretty creative.
Yeah, I really hope so. We still need to see this genius kind of like strategic plans from Armin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dying to see that. And yeah, this chapter has like a lot of small scenes. I feel following the bomb bomb scene, whatever. There's a short one where Falco gets to he reacts to everything that's happening since he was
Mm-hmm.
probably unconscious after he got out of his
Look at
Titan.
Gabby's face during
Yeah,
that. Like, oh my
just
gosh.
she's just totally
That's probably
defeated.
one of the scariest faces she's made. I mean, obviously she's just distraught
Hmm.
and, doesn't can't it's something hard to process and, probably emotionally drained.
Yeah,
Um but anyway, yeah, so that face is very well done by Isayama.
absolutely. Yeah, and just seeing her, seeing Gabby specifically as like this, just speechless, just down, completely down
Mhm.
like that, it's especially jarring. Kind of just knowing how energetic she usually is.
Right.
But yes, the scene after that, unless you wanted to stay in that one, I don't think there was too much to say though, or at least I
Nah.
didn't have too much. I really liked the following scene between Annie and Mikasa. I thought was very nice.
Yeah. I like this
Uh,
scene.
and I love when Mikasa catches on to Annie's feelings for Armin.
One of the
Just
That's one of the best reactions or
yeah,
facial expressions that Mikasa has given. One of the
yeah.
best, not the
She
best, but
just
one of the best.
right. Like you can clearly tell like what kind of reaction that is. She just opens up her mouth to like say something, but like she doesn't. Like she kind of stops
Well,
herself.
I
Or
think it's
at
just
first.
shock. It's shock to me. It's just like
I guess.
I could hear like a sound coming out of the voice, kind of like huh, kind of a thing. Um,
Oh, yeah. Actually, that might be what Etienne was going for. My initial or well spontaneous reaction that I had up until now was basically that she just kind of like maybe she starts saying something like she wanted to like react to it with some kind of word, but she kind of stops herself because maybe she doesn't want to be rude or something. But I don't know. I mean, definitely, I
then she
can
says
definitely
something
see her.
anyway.
Yeah, but it's sweet. It's also like the fact that she picks up on it. Like it
Yeah, no,
it shows
I like
her
that.
perception
Hmm.
is very 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 nice. And there's a moment later in the chapter too when she kind of has like a very very brief conversation with Armin about it too, like very short
Right,
when
right.
Annie leaves. But yeah, it was nice to see Mikasa. Well, she does seem kind of interested. Like she wants to.
Well, she does seem supportive. I mean, it's not like
Mhm.
she's like, cheering them on, kind of a, the best friend. Yay! Oh my gosh! It's not like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But she sees that there's something between them, and understands that. And maybe she's going off her own experience, like with her feelings for Aaron. Like maybe
mm,
she's, you know, when she, I guess, going to the Armin scene when she said, are you okay with this?"
yeah.
Um, and Armin kind of plays clueless, but I think she's saying if it was her, like maybe she would probably want to stay with the one that she loves, or not stay, but well, yeah, maybe stay with the one she loves. I think
Mm,
that could potentially be it. Although I don't think Armin's in the position to stay with Annie.
no.
Although this was before he was made commander, so I guess technically speaking, there was still that possibility. But at the same time, they needed Armin, so
Oh, they
I don't know.
definitely do. For two
Yeah,
reasons. He's the colossal titan, and
hmm
he's one of Aaron's closest friends.
right. But
Uh,
anyway, so I think this just shows that Mikasa has or Mikasa has her own experiences, and she's just trying to make sure that this couple at least makes it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. And I really liked it when she says to Annie that she just wants to bring Aaron back.
Oh
Like,
yes,
you
yes.
know, and I thought that was a really lovely little callback to, well, to a lot of previous occasions throughout the story where, you know, that's basically what she's been doing ever since they were kids, just getting Aaron out of trouble.
Yeah,
And
no,
and
it's
this is like
true.
the ultimate
The
version
ultimate
of that.
trouble. Gosh dang it, kid. So something, I guess, since we brought that part up, there's a couple
Mm,
things I want to mention before that, but since we're here,
right?
I the scarf is brought up, and Annie brings up the scarf,
Yes.
and we know that that's been kind of been a thing in the wings waiting to come up. I
Yeah.
think one potential theory I have is either literally or figuratively, we'll get a moment where Mikasa kind of wraps the scarf around Eren. And now I know that's kind of hard on the Titan. It probably doesn't really fit,
Yeah.
so that may not happen. But I think that the act of when Mikasa got the scarf, Eren went to go save Mikasa, and obviously Mikasa has done the same for Eren multiple times.
Mm.
But perhaps this will be the equivalent for Mikasa. If you know what I mean? Like that was a life changing moment for her, supposedly,
Yeah.
and so potentially like this could be a big turning point for Eren. I don't know how or in what way, but to me it seems like that you know there will be some sort of imagery that will harken back to Eren placing the scarf on Mikasa in that sense. And so
Yeah.
I don't know if that's Mikasa playing the scarf on Eren, or him being there for, or her being there for him. I'm not entirely sure, but what I do know is that it seems pretty obvious to me that she will not turn to kill Eren. Like her goal is to get him
Yeah.
back,
Hmm.
and it seems that if she, trying to stop him by killing him, seems to be counterproductive to bringing him back. Um,
Yeah,
but
I
again,
mean,
maybe
she literally says in this chapter, "I'm not going to kill
mhm,
him," like very
right,
straight up,
right.
very confidently.
Well, and I guess I say that because, um, some people say things and then they go back on their word or something like that. But Mikasa's not like that, especially when it comes to
No.
Eren.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm thinking. So does that mean she's going to end up fighting other people? I mean, Armin seems pretty confident that he's not going to try to kill Eren per se.
I
So I
think
don't
he.
know.
I don't think he's quite as decided as Mikasa is.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. Hmm.
Mm.
But anyway, that was my thoughts on that. Did you have any?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm very much at a loss regarding the scarf right now.
Hmm.
Uh, it's. I think it's really hard to say. I kind of envy your optimism about it.
Oh,
Um,
really?
like, like you're like, if Mikasa is gonna wrap that scarf around Eren, well, the only instance that I can see that happening would be like if she's wrapping it around dead Eren or something like that.
No, well, I'm not saying that's not a possibility.
I suppose, yeah. Because I don't know. I have a really hard time seeing Eren surviving this story.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, this is not going to end. We said this before. This is ending in tragedy. This is not going to be some sort of happy-go-lucky ending in my mind.
Huh.
I don't know. Maybe we'll be surprised, but I do think that there can still be a tragic ending, or like tragedy with some sweet moments. Um,
Yeah.
and there still needs to be uh, one final interaction with at least Mikasa and Eren. But I think Eren and Armin deserve some closure too.
Absolutely. I think
Um,
Eren. Well, in the best of worlds, I would like to have definitely Mikasa Eren discussion, Armin Eren discussion, and probably also a Reiner Eren discussion. Like
yeah, that'd
those
be
three,
nice too.
and maybe even a Zeke Eren discussion. Although at this point we don't even know the whereabouts of Zeke. So,
Oh, I would love a Zeke Eren discussion. just to see where their mindsets are, whether it's at the end or before or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, at this point, I have no idea.
Yeah.
May I quickly say that it feels like Isayama is potentially killing off a lot of people without them being on screen. I'm not necessarily on the boat that Zeke is outright dead right now, but we haven't heard anything from him for a long time, and
Yeah.
Yelena seemed. I mean, we'll see later, but she seems pretty. She seems like Zeke is gone for good, like that the way she's acting. Um,
But she doesn't know more than we do.
True. No, that's true. That's true. And again, I'm not saying that Zeke is dead. I don't think it's confirmed like other people are. But I am saying
Yeah.
that if he is dead, he is Isayama is killing a lot of people off screen, if you will, in the background, like the alien parents, some of the people with parody, the Zeke. So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Zeke. I have something regarding this I'm going to get to later in the discussion.
Well, then save it for later.
So I will save that because it doesn't make sense to bring it up now. However, I will say that there are certain reasons that make me think that maybe Zeke is actually dead. However, at the same time,
Oh,
I have a hard time imagining such a major character as him being killed off screen.
right.
So I am
Yeah,
torn.
I
I'm
feel the
torn,
same
but
way. Yeah.
I definitely could see both ways with him for a certain reason. But we'll get there.
Right. So if you don't mind me going back real quick, unless you had anything else you wanted to say
No,
on that.
please go on.
This is just like a brief thought I had. What if one of the reasons why she doesn't want to go, it's just a very, very slim reason, is that if the push comes to shove and she feels like they have to kill Eren, she doesn't want to fight against Armin and everybody else. Um,
Oh,
I wonder if that's a reason why, one of the reasons, a very small reason, but maybe that could be a reason why she wants to stay back. Now, I do think for the most part she's just basically done with the fighting, done with everything. She just wants a peaceful life. I think that is her number one main goal.
right. And I think more than anything is, well, she's just acting the same way she's always been. She's always been the character who doesn't really give a damn about anybody else.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
So if the world is in quarrel, she doesn't see a reason to intervene, then she won't.
I also find it interesting that when she's talking to Mikasa, she mentions that you know Marley's gone. I mean,
Mm.
once this is all over, I mean, there's no one who will protect us or something like that. Her
Yeah.
thoughts seemed not conflicting, but I don't know. It didn't seem incredibly clear to me because at first it sounded like she was kind of okay with Eren killing off Marley, but then she says there's no one to protect us anymore.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, the other nations of the world are probably. I mean, I'm sure there's all sorts, but there's a lot of countries that resent Eldians possibly way more than Marlians do because Marley is the only nation outside of Paradise Island that has Eldians, as far as I'm aware, at least. Um, like
Probably. I mean,
Eldians living in, yeah, or at
yeah.
least in an organized way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so the people there, while they are dreadful to the Eldians, they still know what the Eldians are like. They're used to them in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And with the example of Magath, he was able to actually like warm up to the Eldians, over all of his years
Right. Right.
training them. And so I think compared to many other countries, Marley, while it is awful, it's maybe the lesser of the evils potentially. And also the fact that they use the Eldians for war, so they have need for the Eldians. The other
Right.
countries probably would probably just want to
Just
kill
kill
the
them.
Eldians off immediately.
I
So
told. Oh, sorry.
yeah,
Go ahead. You keep
yeah,
going.
no, but basically just that. Like it's if Marley doesn't exist, but they save the world, like they save the rest of the world, then yeah, it's gonna be very rough for Eldians.
Yeah, I totally see where you're coming from, and I understand that point. And to the point, I even wrote down in my notes that, you know, I don't blame Annie for being that way. Marley used her, you know,
Yeah.
used all the Eldians
Mm.
to a degree.
Yeah.
But I guess when she says that there's no one to protect us, it's like, well, yeah, there's no one to protect you. They're all dead. Everyone's dead. Like, isn't the
Exactly.
main goal to destroy the entire world? So at least Aaron supposedly.
It
So
is. Yeah.
wouldn't that mean everybody in all nations are dead? So they wouldn't.
No. Well, no. What's the,
Why would you need to be protected?
no? Because so far, as they say in this chapter, or at least as they speculate in this chapter, most of Marley has been destroyed by this point.
Yeah. Right.
Like almost the whole continent of Marley has been trampled. But there's still many other continents that the Wall Titans haven't reached yet. So if they stop Eren now, like after
I
he's
get it.
trampled
I get it.
Marley only, and all the other nations still exist, then that's going to
Yeah.
be problematic.
Then they'll okay, I understand it now. I
Right,
guess
right.
I guess I was only thinking about, like, you know, the end product of Aaron destroying the entire world.
Ah,
And then
right, yeah, yeah. I
that's
mean,
my bad.
if he tramples everyone, then yeah, the Eldians will live in peace.
Right.
I guess. But yeah.
So anyway, but again, it is interesting that she's like, you know, Marley and Marley and Eldians have been persecuted their entire lives. You know, and she almost has kind of a Jaegerist mentality at that point, but I think she's just tired of a lot of things.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely.
Um,
And I totally like relate to her.
oh yeah,
Like I
yeah.
completely understand her because honestly, like what the Alliance is doing right now, they're dooming themselves. I mean, they're doing like the morally right thing, but they're still like creating a very dull future for themselves, or at least the way it seems.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know how it's going to end, but you're right. If
Yeah.
they do end up stopping Aaron, um, the rest of the world's going to be like, okay, well, that's never going to happen. Bye. Happen again.
Yep.
Bye. You know, and destroy all the Indians. So, you
Exactly.
know, who knows how well that will turn out. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's basically all I wanted to say, other than, like,
Mm.
she's so in denial about her her feelings for Armin. She's just so in denial. But I mean, we discussed this last chapter. It's also like, you know, not being able to see how anybody could like her. You know, the self hate
Hmm.
or self doubt or whatever. But anyway, just I think it's funny. It's like, girl, just accept your feelings already.
Yeah, and at this
But
point, I think at this point, I could probably see her having accepted them herself, but she doesn't. She's not comfortable talking about like saying it out loud. I could see that.
maybe I'm not sure. I'm not sure she's quite there yet. I don't know.
I'm interested in seeing where this leads, if anywhere. Obviously now
Mm-hmm.
they're separated right now, but if they're gonna meet up again, what's gonna happen
Well,
then?
right. So I guess that's my a question that I wanted to bring up. I was going to say for later, but now is better than ever. Um, so with Annie, if they do end up separating, which, you know, they're basically the both going off, the plane's going off, so they're on their separate ways.
Yeah.
Where where does Annie come, or does she have any sort of role in the finale? Like
Yeah.
how what role is she going to play? Is this her role, just to be on the ship? Is she going to be safe on the ship, or are the Titans going to swim around the ocean? You know, just make a good lap around the ocean, make sure they destroy all the boats. Like, okay, bye Annie, and everyone else on that boat. Or is she going to end up safe, and, you know, she'll be waiting for Armin if he's still alive, and then they'll live happily ever after, which I don't see that necessarily happening either. Or is she going to make some sort of like 180 opinion change and be like, no, what, I gotta go be with them, and hop on Falco's Titan who suddenly can fly and just get up there. I don't know. Like, I have no idea where this is going.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, so yeah, exactly. Yeah, because we will have Annie, Gabby, and Falco in the same spot. So and
Those
those
are
are
pretty three important characters.
exactly. So yeah, I definitely could see something interesting going on there, and Kiyomi is there as well.
True, Kiyomi's there as well.
And maybe Yelena. It was a bit unclear whether she went on the plane or on the boat.
Oh yeah.
I'm
I
thinking.
assume she was on the boat, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, because we didn't see her in either. So but I mean, I also think it makes more sense for her to be on the boat because she's kind of served her purpose now. She told them Aaron's plan,
And she's pretty hurt too.
and she's hurt exactly. So yeah, I also don't think she's on the plane. I'm just saying it's a possibility. But yeah, she's most likely on the ship, like on the boat.
Right. I guess just one other thought about that. What if the possible finale for Annie and all those guys, including Yelena, is meeting up with Zeke again in parody somehow, and that's where they find him. Maybe they end up finding Historia or talking to Historia too. I don't know. Maybe there's a huge reunion there somehow.
Yeah, I guess it would make sense for them to go back to parody, seeing as that's like the only place safe from the rumbling.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they are wanted there by the Jaegerists.
Oh, good point.
So that's also risky. But I mean, I don't know. It would definitely be interesting to have some more character interactions, like unlikely character interactions like that, kind of.
Yeah.
Or I guess Annie and Zeke, they used to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
I guess
obviously Gabby and all them have probably burning questions for Zeke as well.
right.
And
Yeah,
Yelena.
honestly, that would be pretty interesting.
But I'm not holding my breath for it though.
Right. At this point, it seems like we're really moving into the big climax. I guess. Obviously, it's hard
Yeah,
to tell.
I'm still unsure.
Yeah.
Like last month, I said, "Oh, I feel I feel a little more confident that there could be another volume." But now I'm kind of like I kind of go. I'm back to where I was with chapter 130. I don't know. I could see him. I could see him ending it in what is it? 3 more? Would it be 3
Two.
more chapters?
Two
Or
more. If it's this volume, 2 more chapters. So,
2 more
yeah,
chapters. Okay, never mind
Not that
then.
likely. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. I think there is another volume, which called it, but
Yeah, no, I definitely I agree.
okay. So there's, but you know, I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll pull some sort of wizardry in the next 2
Who knows?
chapters.
Who knows?
Sorry to go on so many tangents. It's probably really hard to follow for those listening, but I felt like there are some good thoughts put out there.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. And if anyone has anything to say regarding anything that we have been touching on here, feel free to leave it in the comments, and I would love to respond probably if it's something that I can't respond to. And but anyway, back into the volume or the chapter. I love the Levi's meta comment about like us forgetting about him if he stays like out of action too long. I thought that was awesome.
Like, he knows. He knows.
Yeah. And I cannot wait for Levi to kick Aaron real good again once they meet up.
Bro, like I'm shocked. I'm glad he's up and at him, but it's like, man, how? Like you were in pieces.
Yeah, I mean
How?
he's still he needs to use like the
Oh, of
railing
course.
to stand up and whatnot.
But
yeah.
I swear, if he's like running around by the end of this, I don't know, man. I mean, I'll be fine. I'll be like, yeah, Levi's back. Levi Stitches is back. Woohoo!
he's definitely gonna be running around and swinging around for the climax
With 2 fingers.
Yeah. Oh, but did you see? I thought that was so creative how he just flips the handle upside down to use his
true.
pinky and ring finger instead of his index and middle finger. That was super creative, and like, of course, Levi is gonna like find a solution to that. Of course, he's gonna manage. He's Levi. So yeah, I really like that detail.
I agree.
And yeah, we get to see the little flashback to when Aaron was planning and getting some advice from Yelena.
And
that was pretty interesting.
And we also see that at least the Alliance destiny right now, at least I think, is Fort Salta. And I mean,
exactly. That
that may be what everyone else thinks too. But
I think
but
it's pretty obvious that yeah.
right. And what I guess this brings up a few things. Maybe I'll save it for later. I'll save it for later though. I think
Okay.
it would make more sense later on. But yeah, so I guess we have a destination. I think
Right.
that was like the main goal of coming to Odiha. I don't know why Yelena couldn't technically have told them on the boat.
I think she was just
But
stubborn.
yeah, probably.
I think that's
Probably.
really
She's like,
and too proud.
I only have. Oh, you're too proud. I only have a few moments of screen time here. Let me milk it as much as I can.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, something that I thought maybe it's a little silly, but something that I noticed in the scene here, there's two geographic locations that we get names for. It's Port Akirfa and Fort Salta. Akirfa backwards is Africa,
Oh my gosh.
and Salta backwards is Atlas. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So okay, that may mean nothing. However, this kind of gives a little bit of support to my whole like, what if this world is like a dome or like a a simulation or something like that? I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he could just be saying, I'm just gonna flip the whole world. I'm gonna just flip the whole world and put everything, what's backwards, the words
Yeah.
backwards, whatever. Like, it'll be a fun thing, or there's actually meaning behind that. And knowing Isayama, he likes to have meaning. But anyway, I'm not like getting my hopes up like that's the case.
Yeah.
That it's there's another world outside of the world that they know of. But all I'm saying is that does give a little more credence to it. But I'm not gonna sell my soul on that.
Right. Yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you just think it's just a funny little thing?
I think it's a pretty funny little thing.
That's fair. That's fair. That is totally fair.
But it is. I mean, it is at least a funny little thing.
Yeah. And it is the name of a port, not necessarily the country itself,
Exactly. Yeah. 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 Exactly. It could be either. But yeah. Anyway, I'm thinking Port Salta might be the final showdown area.
Yeah,
Oh,
potentially.
is my thinking
What's
right now.
really intriguing about that is how there could be weapons that could harm the Colossal Titans, but potentially the Founding Titan as well.
Potentially,
So,
yeah.
does that
Exactly.
mean, are we talking like nuclear weapons or are we talking something different? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Like from what I understood, it was mostly like a place where they had like a bunch of more flying boats.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the Alliance won't be all by themselves in the final showdown against Eren and the Wall Titans.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think
Maybe
that
there could be other
still
people,
be people there.
that like are also flying around in planes and
Yeah.
fighting in the air. Maybe.
That's a good point.
Uh,
But what much could planes do with a machine gun to? I mean, what kind of weapons are these planes going to have?
if they are equipped with anti-Titan weaponry, then in that
Okay.
case they could be pretty efficient,
That could-
I suppose.
Yeah, that
Like,
could be pretty efficient.
but yeah.
What kind of anti-Titan weaponry did other countries in Marley have?
They
time?
had like cannons, or like huge pretty much like cannon.
I do remember the cannons.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those were shot from like. I mean, those are pretty big cannons. I don't. Can you use them on a flying boat like that?
True. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see about that.
I know. This is all pointless pontification. But
But yeah.
anyway, thank you for humoring me.
Oh, I enjoy it. So what did you think of Yelena's point about Zeke being right? Like his plan being right.
So I don't blame Yelena. I mean, she's, she has worshipped Zeke and she's always been with his plan day one. However, I have a hard time accepting and admitting that the euthanization is the the best way to go. Is it better than what is it better than what Aaron's doing? Yeah, for the entire world, sure. But is it? I still can't accept that euthanization is the only way
Mm.
to stop it, to stop the cycle. I
Yeah.
just I can't accept that, and you know I think family relationships and your culture as a people are too important to just throw away like that, in my opinion. I know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of suffering that's come through the Eldian bloodline, but to me, it's, suffering through that is worth it if you're alive. I mean, just living is worth it. And having euthanization would just end a whole culture, a whole race, and I don't. It doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think like both Aaron's and Zeke's plans are childish. Like
Yeah.
they're too simple.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, like basically kill
Yeah.
these people or kill these people. That's gonna like kill one of the two sides is going to solve the issue between them. Like yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
is, but yeah, there's probably more mature ways that one can come up with. Although obviously I don't know any, but uh,
Well, I
yeah.
may I say, because I haven't said anything either, but I have been thinking about this,
Uh-huh.
and while excuse me, while it has been a long time, like 2,000 years since the first Titan appeared, I do think time does heal all wounds. I do think that term is true,
Mm.
and the fact that the Eldian king hid the Titans on the island did not help anything, because it just meant that they would still harbor hatred, and the legends would still say, oh, there's these devil people on the island. But when you're actually with people and seeing that, oh my gosh, these people are just like me in some cases. There's bad people, but there's also these really good, sweet people,
Yeah.
and you realize that we're the same. I think separating each other is how you harbor more hatred, but coming
Absolutely.
together and tearing down the barriers and walls that
Mm.
are put up between us makes us come together, and there's unity. That we learned to overcome our hatred. There's also a lot of real world implications to that as well, I think.
Absolutely, dude. Totally. And I think in this story, Gabby is the perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Starting off as a character who totally, completely, and utterly hated the Paradisian Eldians, and
Yeah.
then she spent time there, and she understood that everyone's the same, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
said, though, I can 100% like, regardless of the history, and sure the history adds to it, but I think even without the dreadful Eldian history, I think as a person who lives in whatever country in this world,
Mm-hmm.
who knows that there's an island where people live that can turn into gigantic monsters that eat people. If I knew of that fact, I would probably be afraid of those people as well.
Oh, totally.
You know,
I, I,
it's
I,
scary.
I totally agree. That's why I think that's like I said, I forget whatever the king's name was.
Fritz,
Him, Fritz. Yeah, him sending everyone to that island and isolating it just only made the problem worse, in my opinion.
probably.
But I
Yeah.
mean, there would have been a lot of bumps along the way. I'm sure, and
Yeah.
he felt bad for the sins of his people. But you don't atone for your sins by running away. That's not how you change.
No.
That's not how you make things better. Anyway,
Preach.
I, I, I'm getting bad at a fictional king here.
Dude, it's good. That's why I like having you around for these discussions.
Anyway,
um
but I understand why it's such a complicated situation. And again, I
yeah.
understand why Yelena would want to, be or want to be on Zeke's side and say, ha, Zeke was right. But it does bug me
Yeah.
that she kind of like pushed Hanji to accept that that was the only way. Now, do you think that she admitted to the fact that Zeke's plans was better, or did she admit that Aaron's plan was bad?
I th- yeah, it was yeah, the way she she puts it isn't super obvious. I think I think she admits that his plan was better, but not good.
Hmm.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, like it
Yeah.
wasn't the right thing, but it was probably compared to Aaron's better.
And I
Which
and
I,
I can agree with that. I
right,
can agree with
exactly, yeah, me as well for sure. Because definitely both are the wrong plans or the wrong options, but yeah, Zeke's is slightly less bad.
that. Right.
But yeah, anyway, we're moving on to the little short scene between Peak and Kiyomi. Uh, I like what I kind of bring from this discussion or this conversation here is some excitement about Peak's role in the finale of the story.
Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems like Isayama is building up to something with Peak here, and I'm very excited to see her maybe shine somehow.
Yeah, she's got some. She's got definitely a moment coming. I think
Mm.
a few death flags are there too.
Yeah.
Um, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, like you, I'm excited to see what she does. Um, because she's kind of for a little bit she's kind of just been in the background. I mean she's helped out a lot. Don't get me wrong, but she hasn't been like a um, MVP kind of
Yeah. No,
player. At least since Aaron's transformation.
yeah, it's true. Like, and even in the Marley arc, where she had so far the biggest role, like she wasn't among the main characters.
Yeah. Well,
Um, but I think there's still potential for very interesting stuff. I think to come from her. So I'm interested in that. Then the following day, the little exchange between Reiner and Annie here at the dock. Something like this is what I wanted ever since we saw Annie come out of the crystal. Is this kind of somber, kind of understanding and just short
mm,
interaction between her and Reiner is something I've been just dying to see since she got out of the crystal. So I was very happy to see that here, and also the hug at the end, like just
yeah.
so precious.
It really is. I mean, they had their differences, but they obviously she followed Reiner as he took the leader role.
Mm,
But they're still friends in the end. I mean, they
right.
went through so much together. So
Yeah.
it was nice to see that part of their relationship,
Yeah.
you know, and see kind of that side of Annie. I think this might be the first time I've seen Annie hug anybody.
I think
Did she
so.
hug like
Unless we saw her hug our dad at some point, like in a flashback or something.
maybe?
Maybe.
I don't remember her. I don't remember. Did she hug Hitch or anything like that? I can't.
I don't think so. Like
Yeah.
maybe Hitch hugged her, but she wouldn't have hugged her back.
Right.
So yeah, I think this was definitely very sweet.
Yeah, for sure.
And honestly, anything with Reiner is just I'm gonna love it regardless, probably.
Well, this was also great because this is another chance for Reiner to apologize and basically Annie kind of forgives him.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
This was very
and
nice
so there was that
in that way.
there was that
Yeah.
kind of forgiveness. And maybe that was one of the last kind of apologies he wanted to get out there. I mean, obviously he's never gonna stop apologizing. I don't think,
Yeah.
but but I think this was important for him to kind of get that off his chest because you could tell it bothered him
Oh yeah.
that it was because of him basically that they went through with all this.
Yeah, exactly. He feels guilty for his comrades and his former enemies, like both
Yeah.
because it was because of him. Although to be fair, if they had gone back at the time instead of breaking through the walls,
Mm-hmm.
they would have probably had
There would
their
have been a
titans
punishment.
stripped
Yeah.
from them. Like someone else would have done the job instead, so everything would have probably been at around the same place right
No,
now
totally.
anyway. But yeah, like I
Totally.
do still understand why he feels guilty, but yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, it's really hard to say that, oh, well, if I didn't do it, someone else was going to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, that can be excused for some things, but I mean, I understand where Reiner is totally coming from. I mean,
Yeah,
you
totally.
know, the guilt makes sense. And I know you know that too. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And Annie leaving.
And that wave and that look. It's like,
Yeah.
you guys. And Mikasa's just like, bro, are you okay with this?
Like they should have hugged. Armin and Annie should have
Yeah,
hugged.
I know. I mean, I understand Reiner and Annie hugging. I mean, they've
Oh,
been
yeah.
friends for so long. I totally understand that. But it does feel like they made progress in the relationship. But I guess technically they're not like dating or anything like that.
Right.
So I don't know. I guess it makes sense. And Annie is still very much. I think she's conflicted with her feelings. Like she doesn't. I
Yeah.
still don't think she wants to accept that she likes Armin, especially when you have this kind of a moment. Even
True.
Armin's kind of like. He's like, well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like maybe he doesn't want to say anything until he gets affirmation from Annie.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, love, man. It's complicated.
It's complicated, and I hope it doesn't end like this. I hope we see more of it. But at the same time, like we were saying, like where does that fit into the overall narrative as we race to the finale?
Some kind of epilogue, I guess, if they both survive
okay,
it.
yeah. Epilogue could be.
Yeah.
I would like to see an epilogue.
Of course, assuming they both survive.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big if, I guess, in a story like this.
So funny. It would be so funny if Annie just flies on Falco's back and just comes to the aid. I don't know what she would do if Falco could even fly.
Oh my god. No.
I guess it's kind of it's like a joke, but also kind of like a wish.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably breaks all sorts of rules and everything like that, and it's a little shonen or a lot shonen, but anyway.
Yeah. No. It's. I mean. Yeah. I mean. At the very least, I do hope for some. Or I don't know. I don't have much to say, but as we said before, something with Annie, Gabby, and Falco. I think they're seeing as they're big characters. Something.
They gotta have something.
Should be going on there, but we'll see. Something I thought was really funny too here is we get to see Mad Titan scientist Hanji is back when she suggests like her writing on Peak's Titan. Like I feel like it was so long ago that we last saw Hanji act that way, like regarding Titans. I feel like it was too long.
Yeah.
So I thought that was.
I agree.
I got a kick out of that.
Yeah, it was good to see that, and it's like when you read that, you're kind of like, I mean, this is great to see, but what does that mean coming up?
Yeah, too happy.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, what are you trying to do?
He's messing with our hearts.
Just really random when Annie and Reiner are talking. And he's like, I had to restrain myself from killing you so many times.
Yeah.
PX just like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that was funny.
You can't say that.
But of course, Annie does say that because she's the realist.
Oh yeah.
And,
She can totally say that. I don't know why.
Brutally
I don't know if
honest.
PX is surprised about that. I mean, it's totally an Annie thing to say.
Yeah, it's funny. Actually, something about Peak, I gotta touch on it because I have been pronouncing it Piek for like ever because it is an I and an E followed by a C and a K. But anyway, and I feel like I made you pronounce it that way, or maybe not. But I don't know. It's the feeling that I got and that I pronounced it that way, and then you also started saying it that way.
Just for consistency sake.
Right. Yeah, but then I looked up the Japanese spelling of it, and it's just Piku.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it's just peak.
I'm fine with that.
So not Piek. Just wanted to point that out. So it's my bad. But I think I finally found the truth.
The truth will set you free.
Yes.
Awesome.
I mean, it's a weird name to begin with because I've never heard that even in like German situations.
I wonder where he got it from. Maybe
yeah.
he found it in a German naming book or something like that.
I guess maybe it's just like some obscure German name.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely possible. But anyway, when Flock came up taking aim with his pistol, first of all I got really worried for Onyankopon.
Oh, I did
because
too.
If he had shot Onyankopon, he would have succeeded. because
Yeah.
Onyankopon supposedly is the only one who knows how to fly the plane. Uh, of course, I also understand like he'd been maybe like holding onto the ship among the waves and stuff. He's probably pretty drained.
He's probably exhausted. And
Yeah.
also, I don't know if he's left-handed. I think he may be right-handed, and the fact that he can't
Ooh,
use his right hand may be an issue with aiming.
interesting, dude. That's I did not think about that. That's probably totally also why his aim is bad. Like partially also.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice, very nice.
I mean, I do wonder, like, so was he aiming at Oyankapo, or was he aiming at the fuel thing, or was he just firing for the sake of, hopefully I do some sort of damage here?
I think Flock is smart enough so that he would have shot Onyankopon if he could have.
Okay.
That's my suspicion. I mean, he still managed to indirectly kill Hanji because of
Oh
this.
yeah, totally. Yeah.
Uh,
I just wasn't sure if his plan was, okay, I'm gonna put a hole in the fuel tank, and that should
right.
stop them, or was it I'm gonna shoot Oyakapone, or was it
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go blunt guns blazing?
I mean, obviously, it's hard to say for sure, but
Right.
uh,
But I see what you're saying. I
uh,
totally
yeah, it's what I'm gonna choose to think is that he
do. Yeah.
he wanted to shoot on Yankoban because he knew that would have been the smartest thing. Uh, but yeah, very very interesting. And last month, I did predict that Flock would show up in Odiha.
As
He
did
would he,
I.
he would wait. So yeah, we should pat ourselves on the back for that one.
Yeah.
We
Good
did we
job.
did good this one time.
Right. I mean, I think we were pretty dead set that um I keep it flock, right?
Uh-huh.
Flock. Sometimes I say floch. I don't know why. Um, but yeah, so we were pretty set that flock somehow held on to the ship
Oh yeah.
and was gonna have some sort of interaction with them. So it's kind of like, okay, our thoughts were correct. The one
Yeah.
thing that I was like slightly disappointed with is that there wasn't much interaction, but at the same time, it makes sense that he would go out trying to cause disturbance like that. He wouldn't
Oh
he
yeah.
would he wouldn't try to talk. He would just try to kill them.
Hmm.
That makes sense. For some reason I thought that maybe uh, I I thought that there would have been some sort of discussion or maybe some sort of understanding to be had, um, especially if Armin was in the fray. But I'm totally okay with this. I think this is a good death for him.
Hmm.
Um, and as we'll see, like his final moments are with Jean and Hanji. Hanji, not it doesn't really matter, but well, I guess she kind of comforts him, or kind of like not comforts him, but like speaks to him, gives him an answer, even though he's already dead.
Right.
Um, but so I guess that was a good enough interaction for me, and we kind of see that Flock's whole thing isn't necessarily just about killing people, and we knew this.
Oh
It's not
no.
just that he
Yeah.
just wants to kill people. He wants to protect his homeland, his or parody,
Mm.
and he believes that their devil, or however he puts it, is
Yeah.
the only way to ensure that. So he like in that phrase, I feel like he realizes what Aaron is doing is horrible.
I think he
But
always knew that because we
right, well,
saw
yeah,
a few chapters ago we saw the flashback to when Aaron told Flock
right.
his
I never
plan.
said he didn't know that, but
Right.
I said like he knew that.
Right. Right.
But
Mm.
he came to realize that for our safety, this is the only way, is what he believed.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I really did feel for him in his dying breath there. And I mean, I
Yeah,
always I always thought he was relatable, in some ways. Because obviously, wanting to protect your home makes perfect sense. It's just an awful thing to kill everybody outside of your home in order to achieve that.
right, right.
But like at the same time, I definitely see where he's coming from and all that. Always did. It's just yeah. I Flock gets a lot of hate. I really enjoy his character though. He's a realist, and he's like he's consistent in the way that he follows whoever he deems has the best power to bring a good life for him and his people.
Yeah.
He was opposed to Eren and the others before the time skip because
Mm-hmm.
it was Erwin that he followed and he believed in. But after the time skip, he well, he got to see what Eren was all about, and he chose to follow him instead. I think he's a very realistic character in that regard.
Yeah. Um, I've always found him annoying in the fact that he likes to not push people's buttons. Well, maybe that is the right term, but he doesn't do it intentionally. He's very blunt. He's very like, look, I don't think you should have lived. Irvin should have lived.
Oh, he's incredibly blunt. Yeah.
And that sort of bluntness it just really bugged me. And I mean, that was his character, and he was true to that character. And so, in that sense, I still appreciated him for the story purposes, but I still found him kind of annoying and stuff like that. But I admire his, like you said, his kind of persistence.
Right.
To keep doing what he believes is good for his people. Like he never gave up for his people. Like he had.
Oh yeah.
He had an idea, or a thought, or not an idea. Like he saw what Eren was trying to do, and he saw what Irvin was trying to do, and he held on to those. He never let go.
Oh yeah.
Until basically there was no point to keep holding on, I guess.
Yeah.
And as we can see here, like he kept going until the very last, his very last breath. So.
Yeah. Well, so I think it's perfect to have Hanji and Jean by Flock's side and in his dying moment here, because Jean, I think, for the reason that he was probably the one closest to Flock during their time in the military. They trained together. Sure, Flock wasn't introduced until later, but Flock was around during the training day, so they would have known each other from there, and also during the time skip. And
I think it was a time skip.
I mean, especially there, but Flock was still around before that, even though he wasn't technically around for totally. Us,
yeah, I know.
But yeah, like I think it also is implied, like after the time skip, when these characters are reintroduced into the story, it feels very much like Jean, especially has, maybe he's not best buddies with Flock, but they've had, they've spent time together, and they're relatively close. So I thought that was nice to have him there, and I also think it's nice to have Hanji there, because the fact that Hanji is there with him, and she's the one who declares that he's dead. That's very similar to when she declared that Erwin was dead.
Oh.
Or at least it reminded me of that. And obviously, Flock isn't the true successor of Erwin, but he definitely wanted to be.
Right. Well, he wanted to be, but you also have the true successor to Erwin right there.
Exactly.
Hanji.
Yep.
So that's symbolic in and of itself.
Oh yeah, and it's poetic, very poetic to have both the real successor and the fake successor die in the same chapter.
Yeah, that's true.
That was interesting as well. So James,
what?
You got your wish come true about Armin becoming the next commander. Congratulations. I'm not salty at all.
I mean, I taste a little bit of salt, but no. So
however, I will say.
Go. You go ahead.
I got my prediction right about Hanji biting the dust, so that's something at least. At least yeah. I guess you did too. But right. Yes.
I thought, before I say Armin, but I thought that the next people on the chopping block were either Hanji or Connie, however you want to say it. I'm not sure if Connie is next. I think it could be Peak, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think I started predicting Hanji's death, like, I guess maybe a little too early. I guess possibly. I thought she would die definitely before Magath, and
oh really?
I thought for sure.
Yeah, I was like, Magath, he's next.
Yeah. But she did die now, and
she did. You did. Damn. Yeah, you did get that right.
It came eventually.
So with Armin becoming the commander, I found it. I mean, the fact that Hanji died is understandable, and I felt like it was a needed sacrifice in order to make sure that they would get off. I actually found Hanji's sacrifice a little more understandable and needed than Magath's. Just because like Magath's death was good, but at the same time I was kind of like, did he really have to do that? I mean, I guess so
He
to stop
did.
them,
He
but
totally did.
I felt like someone had to stop impede the colossal titans just at least a little bit in order for the flying boat to get off.
Hmm.
So, and in that sense, I, I, I found her death just a death a little more a little more understandable, I guess. But I also find their deaths very similar. Anyway,
Yeah.
going to Armin becoming commander,
Yeah.
I to me there was no one who had been able to take the lead as well as Armin. Just for the one fact that she said that a commander needs to be able to understand,
Yeah.
and that is something that Armin has been growing at and is doing a very good job at.
Absolutely.
Not only is he tactfully creative, a genius in that sense, but yeah, he has that ability to understand other people.
Hmm.
And so I look at like the other people who could potentially become commander. Levi is basically hobbling on one leg here. He's not in any position to do that, but he doesn't have that ability to understand
Yeah,
as
no,
well.
and Levi. Yeah, I mean, Levi would have never been a commander of the Service Corps.
Yeah,
Like he isn't that type of person.
yeah. I think I said before that maybe like Levi could be commander, but the more I think about it, it's like yeah, it just doesn't suit him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I never
Um,
saw him as that type of leader.
right,
Like
right.
he can't go higher than a squad captain. Like, and even that I think is pushing it. Honestly, I don't think he's that good of a squad captain.
True. Everyone around him dies.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So honestly, I don't know. He's not the leader type. And for anyone who's listening to our who's listened to our show for at least a couple of months, they probably heard at least one of our many discussions or debates where James has been. We've been talking about basically this is the exact scenario where
Uh-huh.
Hanji would die, who would take over as the next commander. James has always been very adamant about Marmin. Fair enough. I, however, have been advocating for John. And however, I will say, I never thought of it the way that Hanji put it here. The way that, like,
Mm-hmm.
basically, for Armin's unyielding desire for understanding. I think that was a really good point that I definitely hadn't considered before. So with that, I guess I'm a bit more okay with him taking over.
Mm-hmm.
However, I still don't think that he's like the ideal commander, but maybe he's the best option available right now. Because no one can live up to Aaron Smith, you know. So maybe I'm just being too harsh or too.
Potentially. I think by the end, I think Armin will exceed our expectations. I really do. But
I'd love to see
it's
it.
hard. It's hard to replace. Irvin as amazing commander he was. Although
Yeah.
he himself even says that he sent thousands of people to hell and or he felt like he was basically a murderer in that sense.
Well,
But he did it for a reason,
and
obviously.
and yeah, and Erwin had that something I think that Armin lacks is the ability to make hard decisions, like really hard decisions. Decisions where people will die regardless. We've never
Besides the
really
fact that he
seen.
killed himself,
I mean, yeah, he did, but it
that's a pretty
was.
hard decision to make.
Oh wait, okay. Good point. Fair enough. I'll
Although I
give.
guess you could argue that killing yourself might be easier than say
Mm,
killing people your subordinates. Although maybe it depends on the
that's
person because I'm sure there's
right.
plenty of people who would kill their subordinates before themselves. Anyway,
Yeah, but anyway, yeah.
I get what you're saying,
Mm,
but
mm,
I'll say this that I think there will be. Okay, I can see it going one of two ways. Either Armin grabs onto this gung ho and really shows that this new calling on him just kind of
mm.
pushes away a lot of his doubts. But the other way I think it could go, and I'm leading more towards this way, is that he will, like he usually does, have self doubt and
Oh yes.
kind of doubt his abilities, and I'm sure that there'll be some talks that need to be given to him, kind of to say, hey, look, you need to snap into this. You are a leader now. I'm sure
Yeah.
that will happen, and maybe Jean will be the one that snaps him into his place,
I would love
and
to see that. Yeah.
yeah, and then they go from there. But I wouldn't be
Right.
surprised if that's either the next chapter or the chapter after.
Mm, mm.
But I guess we'll see.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So because so yeah, like I can like as I said before, like after having seen like Hanji's reasoning for promoting Armin here, I definitely am more okay with it. I'm not gonna fight anyone who thinks that's the right option because I definitely see Hanji's point.
Mm-hmm.
However, I still think Jean is a better leader when it comes to or like when you have an objective and when the situation is like very very dire, he is able to make fast calls and he has the right confidence as a leader to inspire confidence in others. I don't think Armin has that, and Armin I think gets too stressed out. He's too well he doesn't believe in his own abilities enough to inspire that confidence and to make that kind of like heat of the moment decisions a lot of the time from what we've seen. But yeah, like I really hope that Jean's like those qualities that Jean has because he does have them. Like they were very clearly on display, like right after the rumbling started, and they were clearing out the Titans in Shiganshina. So I'm really hoping that those qualities of Jean's get some time to shine, or like they get some focus in the story. Even though he's not going to be the commander, I still hope for there to be something there for Jean as some kind of leader, not a commander, but like a leader nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Because like in the Tross arc, Marco said to Jean that he thinks Jean is a good leader not because he's strong, but because he's weak, just like the rest of them. And I would hate for that build up to not lead anywhere. For Jean's role as a leader.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I've never been too hot on Jean, as you guys know.
Yeah.
Like you guys, I mean you, Petter, no. But he has grown on me as we've done this podcast, and I do see those leadership qualities, but I also see a lot of um, I do see some of the hesitation though, like especially when it comes to hurting other people, which is probably a good thing for a person to have.
Oh yeah.
But he's kind of struggled with um, his choices, including killing other people, but also like he was almost attempted to just live the peaceful life at the Capitol again. Just Marley. I mean, I can't blame the guy. Not Marley. The this current arc. I
Yeah.
can't blame the guy. I mean, it's his lifelong dream. But at the same time, that kind of hesitation may not be becoming of a leader. But then again, like you said, good leaders are weak according to Marco, and that's definitely a sign of weakness. Um,
Yeah.
but I think Armin will surprise you. I think Isayama has
Yeah.
some good things up his sleeve, and there may be some pushing and support from Jean and the other people in the alliance, um, kind of prodding in that sense. But those qualities that you described in Jean, I think, can be developed and learned, and I think Armin is slowly becoming that. And one last thing I'll say about this just now is that I think Coney might bring up the moment when Armin helped convinced him to stop trying to get his mom to come back,
Ah.
and say like that was a good leader moment or something like that.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, like and anything to give Armin confidence at this
right.
point, I suppose. I do think you bring up a good point about where John wanted to. Well, he was kind of close to abandoning the group, or he considered it, and just when he envisioned that lax future, just chilling as
Mm-hmm.
a high up military. I could definitely see that as yeah, maybe that doesn't make him like a perfect leader. And actually another thing that like and I'm gonna kind of destroy my own the things that I've been kind of advocating for. Uh, Regarding Jean, he lost it totally on Reiner at the campfire.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a good leader would have done that. Should have done that.
Mm.
Gone that crazy on.
Well, I mean, I think it was good for Jean as we've said before, it was good for him.
Right, and
But
like
yeah.
as a person,
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame him for it at
Right.
all. But I think that might not be a good quality to have in a like highest ranking leader of a
Mm-hmm.
or of an organization. You know.
Mm-hmm.
That said, though, I do think obviously there isn't really much to lead at this point. Like, yeah, Armin's the
Yeah.
commander over like 7 people. Whoop whoop.
I thought the same thing.
But but like just hypothetically, if the Survey Corps would become what it once was, and they would have like section captains or squad captains and whatnot, I could totally see Jean being like the captain for the like first squad, like squad 1 or whatever, like similar to
Yeah.
Levi kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Although for a different reason, not because he's the amazing fighter Levi is, but because he's a solid leader that Levi is not. Something
Yeah.
along those lines.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I guess going back to the thought before Armin becomes commander,
Yes.
it's just the rumbling itself, and how Eren didn't go where Yelena thought he would. What is that supposed
Yeah.
to mean?
Well,
Now, or is the fort already taken over? I mean, it could be gone, but um,
either that or Aaron is just very spread out. He could be in several
true,
locations at the
true.
same
Maybe
time.
maybe they didn't realize how spread out they were, because
Mm.
it feels like they didn't expect the rumbling to be there. Um, I'm not entirely sure, but either way, it was kind of shocking. Well, I don't know if I said this on the podcast, but I did think that when they got to Odiha, I thought they would make their plans, but right before they left, I thought like the rumbling would appear and that's how the chapter would end. But it was a little different than what I thought. They did get away, so
Yes.
there's that. But it's interesting that the rumbling did reach Odiha, and I don't know. I just wondered if what if Eren is trying to lead them to somewhere, and what if that somewhere is the fort? Because he knows that because he knows about the fort, obviously. So maybe he wants them to stop him. I don't know. It's complicated.
It is. It is very hard to know, and it's also hard to know just how much of the future Aaron knows, because
Yeah.
I think it's possible that he doesn't know anything from here on out.
Yeah,
He
it's
does.
true.
Like maybe he could have known that he would start the rumbling and get up to this point, or maybe even less, theoretically. But that from here on out, he doesn't know anything about the future. But there's also obviously the possibility that he knows the full outcome of everything, which
True.
in that case, he could be playing some pretty interesting like mind games, maybe potentially, with
Potentially.
with us and the other characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard to tell.
Yeah. Anyway, just reading that and reading this whole chapter got me thinking about that kind of stuff. So it's probably stuff that we won't realize until the very end.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like Jurassic Park, man. Everything starts shaking. It's like the T-Rex stomping.
Exactly.
Except
oh,
it's
yes.
like hundreds of thousands of T-Rexes.
Ooh, and I mean these are many times bigger than a T-Rex. So yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Something that I thought was very sweet and I was touched by was Hanji's and Levi's little conversation right before Hanji swoops off toward the Titans.
Yeah.
And like I feel like you can really like, even though Levi doesn't say a whole lot in that little brief, it's like a page and a half, you can tell how sad he is because he knows that he's going to lose Hanji too now, the last of his long longtime comrades. Like just
Yeah.
that one panel you see, like just his eye. It breaks my heart. Just seeing
Mm-hmm.
Levi so sad, and then when he says devote your heart,
I
like
was like, oh.
even now when I'm just seeing it, like my eyes are watering. And Jesus Christ, actually,
Yeah.
when I read this chapter the first time, I was eating some very very spicy food, so I wasn't able to tell if I was crying because of the food or because Hanji. But I'm crying. I'm not crying, but my eyes are getting a little bit wet. Man, this is the
Mm.
first time that I've actually gotten a little teary eyed on recording. Just looking at the fucking panels. God damn it, get a grip, man. Anyway,
It's okay, man. Let it all out.
yeah. Wow. Um, Needless to say, I was very affected by this. I thought it was very well done.
Yeah, I think it was a great moment for him to say devote your heart,
Yeah.
you know. As much as I'm not sure if he exactly liked that phrase. I don't remember what he said about it before, but
Well, he
I
never has
think
said that before.
right. Well, I know
You
he's
know,
never said
it's
it before.
always
I
been
meant
like
like
Ervin saying that,
right.
basically.
I feel like there was a for some reason I felt like there was a time where he said he didn't like that phrase or something like that, or he thought it was manipulative. I don't remember.
Maybe I don't remember that, but it's possible.
Well, if you don't remember it, then it's probably
No,
not true. But
hey.
either way,
Mm.
it is cool to hear him finally say that, and
Yeah,
that's a really sweet moment between them.
very.
Um, long time comrades.
Hmm. Oh boy. Then we get this kind of like little montage thing that kind of shows Hanji fighting the colossal or the wall titans, and a little bit back and forth with that and the engineers fixing the plane. And I guess this takes place over like at least half an hour, I imagine, because they said they needed an hour to fix the plane, and like sure maybe some time happened between they said that and Hanji setting off to fight the Titans. So, but I still imagine that this might have been going on for probably at least half an hour.
Yeah, maybe longer.
Maybe,
Like
exactly, like could have been closer to a full hour.
yeah.
It's just
So it's incredible that Hanji was out there that long doing that.
right, yeah, and
Man.
something like, and this is all very serious and sad and whatnot. But there was one moment, one part, and it's very silly of me to even get a little bit of a kick out of it. But the engineers, like at the bottom of one of the pages, the engineers are like preparing the stuff, and one of them says, "Start the engines," and that immediately brought my mind to the first Indiana Jones film. The very beginning of it, when Indiana Jones is chased by the like natives with the
The
spears,
natives,
yeah,
yeah,
and he's
yeah.
like running toward the plane, and he's like, "Start the engines, start the engines." That's one of like, I don't know. I thought that was funny for no reason at all related to
Yeah.
anything here, but anyway, moving on.
There was a scene. Oh, we must have missed it. But
Oh,
there was a scene where Kiyomi was throwing coals
oh
into
yeah,
the fire pit. I think it was
yeah,
way back. Oh, there it was. Right before she named Armin commander. But
right.
I don't know. I mean, it's such a small thing, but it's kind of. I kind of thought it was funny to seeing her do it, but I was like, good. Oh well, not good for her, but just like it. I don't know. You kind of feel for her. She's working so hard, and I don't know.
I mean,
I
yeah, I
don't know
mean,
how. I don't know how to
everyone's working
express my feelings
together.
with this.
Everyone's
Right.
putting effort in. It's nice to
Yeah.
see like the teamwork,
Exactly.
team
You
effort.
just put my thoughts into words. Thank you. So it gave me a little bit of chuckle, but also kind of like you know, it's like, oh, that's nice.
Right, totally. That was
Please
a
don't
very
die.
very nice little. Yeah. Kiyomi is an interesting character in my opinion, because
Yeah.
like the first impression that we got of her was that she was just a greedy
Mm-hmm.
politician,
Kind of
kind of
using.
who wanted like natural uh,
Right.
like resources from the island, and like that's what she came off as at first. And I'm sure she is that, like part of her is still that, but she's also a kind person in addition to that.
Yeah. I probably should have said this before I brought up the Kiyomi thing.
Huh?
But going back to Hanji, and the point I made earlier is that how Magath and Hanji had similar deaths. I just want to kind of like
Right.
cement that,
Yeah.
they both made sacrifices, entrusted the future to a younger generation for the most part,
Uh-huh.
and putting their whole well, putting their life on the line and just saying, it's time for me to move on. It's time for me to, you know, move on with my comrades, if you will, who have already passed away. So
Mm.
I kind of like that parallel between the two. The leader of the Marley army and the leader of the Survey Corps, or I guess
Right.
at that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the leader of the Survey Corps.
Right.
So they both got pretty good deaths, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And that definitely like nice similarity, I guess, between the two. Obviously
Mm-hmm.
different enough to not feel like a copy paste, but still
Totally.
like yeah. And I mean, Isayama is great at that. Just having his story rhyme in various ways from time to
Mm,
time is very nice.
yeah.
And getting to the ending of the chapter, there is something that I would like to talk about that took me some time. Well, so I was talking, well, about this thing specifically, I was talking mostly with Mom Taku of the You Hear Big Girls podcast and Kingsgrave, who is, he's been on their podcast and he has, well, we talked to him in the Discord server, which, by the way, is linked in the description for anyone who wants to join and talk about Attack on Titan with us. But yeah, those two, anyway, had this very interesting idea. I mean, I'm sure there's been others as well, but those were the two that I talked about it with. About so the last two pages, pretty much, shows Hanji with her dead comrades, and it honestly seems, although it took me some time to warm up to it, it definitely seems like this is something inspired by Valhalla, or a heaven
Hmm.
of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing as Isayama has taken a lot of inspiration from Norse mythology, I'm gonna say Valhalla because, well, she did die a very much a worthy Viking's death in combat, and she wakes up. You know the bottom of the third last panel, Hanji wakes up. She has already been trampled. We see it in the panel above. She's
Mm-hmm.
literally squashed, but then she wakes up and she finds herself among her dead comrades. So this brings up a whole lot of new questions. There might possibly be an afterlife officially in the Attack on Titan universe.
The dome. The dome. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
Right.
kidding.
No, because so it was interesting because the first time I read the chapter, I definitely didn't see this as something actual. I just saw it as something symbolic, or something that just because we've seen dead people before, as like in the heads basically of characters in the past, people just imagining, thinking about their fallen comrades. But this is different because at this imagery comes after Hanji is already dead, so it's obviously not in her thoughts. So I have become fairly convinced that Valhalla is actually a real thing in this world, whether it's related to paths or if it's related to something else. It seems like it's definitely a real thing. This is not just her imagination. What do you think about that?
Um, so I'm gonna take the pessimistic side. Uh, I I totally see where you guys are coming from, and I'm not disagreeing that this is Valhalla per se, but I also don't necessarily think that it's like for real existence, that these souls are still existing in this way. I do think it's more of a sentimental kind of just impactful moment for her. How she's able to meet the comrades who have passed on, and kind of pass away peacefully in that sense.
But she's already
Um,
dead when this happens.
so I don't think that matters. I think that you can still have a special moment for someone even when they pass away, and not necessarily be that, oh, this place actually exists. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it wouldn't. I mean, I guess. Mm, well, take Emir Fritz. She is dead, but she still somehow exists within paths. So
Mm-hmm.
having dead people still live on in some sort of way isn't unheard of in this story.
No, I agree. So I guess my where I get caught up in all this is where you say like this place exists, and it's like, well, I
I
don't
mean,
really.
maybe not. I mean, not physically, but
Yeah,
it's like heaven.
I guess so. Um, but I mean, I'm not objected to the fact that spirits still carry on, but I am kind of like, I do object to the fact that they're actually like still existing. You know, I don't know, like another realm or an afterlife of some sort.
I think
Um,
this is totally legit afterlife. And I think I don't know, man. I was also super skeptic at first. Incredibly, I did not like at all really take it seriously. They tried to like explain it to me, but I at this point I feel like I can't see it not being like a legit afterlife right here. For the couple of reasons that I mentioned, it happens after Hanji's already been squished, and she when she wakes up, she looks well. She isn't scorched. She isn't injured at all.
right. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think that matters though. Why? I understand your point that she's not scorched anything, but why would that matter? I mean, she's obviously dead.
Right.
But
But why would
what
we
I'm
see?
trying,
Why would Isama put this in if it
because this is
wasn't
for Levi.
meaningful for Levi?
So, yeah. So you see, he says, "See you, Hanji. Keep watching us." And their whole thing was that their comrades in arms are still watching it, just like how Irvin had his whole spiel thing, and he had the people, all around him, surrounding him and staring at him. That if people had gone away, I think that's just all kind of like symbolic of yes, these people are still watching us, but they're not actually here. We have their memory of them that we have to honor, or whatever. They're watching us in that sense. Um, and so that's why I think this is more for kind of Levi's peace of mind, but also it's also for the leader, or not the leader, the reader.
Ah.
Um, sorry, L's, R's.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like I'm Japanese,
they're the
it's like I'm
same.
Japanese or something like
Yeah.
that. It's for I feel like it's more for the reader and having kind of a peace of mind in that sense, where Hanji was her whole thing with being commander was having this responsibility thrust upon her and not being able to or she accepted it. I think she did a good enough job, but she obviously had doubts about how she was doing, and she felt like she didn't do a good job. But I think this is good for her and kind of a closure for the reader as well, but also for Levi, who I think it also has or thinks about those people who have passed away. And then one last thing I'll say is, why is this only, if this place exists, why is this only the people from Parody? Why isn't Magath there?
Well,
Why?
so it depends, right? If it's related to paths, then that would be why, because only Eldians are related to paths. If it's just a general kind of
Then why
heaven,
isn't Bertolt there?
well, I mean,
He died in battle.
there's a lot of people here. So,
Oh, that's by the way. Is Sasha there? Is that Sasha in the middle right there?
Definitely Sasha
Okay,
from back there.
that's
But
what I thought.
there's a lot of people here. Like there surely are people that we can't see.
Sure.
So like I totally could see Bertolt and Marco and Emir, and like they're here, but the ones that Hanji was closest to are right there to greet her.
But why is it only? But why is it only ever Irwin or Hanji? Like the people that Levi, Irwin, and Hanji are close to. Why is it only? I
Well,
guess John had a
Sasha
moment.
Sasha is
John
there
had a
though.
moment. Well, true. Sasha's there.
So like I think that kind of indicates that it's not only those who are closest to Hanji. It's
I think it's people that Hanji knows though.
I mean, and
Like or Levi knows, I guess. I don't know. I'm just not willing to accept that he's gonna put in this Valhalla thing, at the very end. Like
I think the end
why?
is the place to put it. Like it wouldn't have the same impact if we always knew that there was an afterlife.
True, No, I do. I mean, that's a good point. That's a good point. But what does it bring to the story, though, other than the fact that, hey, these guys are still watching over us?
I don't know yet.
I don't know. I think people are taking this a little too literally.
I thought so too at
then you'd be,
first.
and then I'm sure people would be like, well, you're not taking literally enough. And you know what? That's fine.
You know, we've had Yggdrasil. We are having Ragnarok happening right now. I don't think Valhalla is a stretch. You know, it's just one other an old Norse staple.
Sure.
And yes, I was just as against this at first as you are. It took me quite a while to warm up to it. For a long time, I was just very torn on it.
I mean, I'm not going to be convinced until I see other people than the leaders of the Survey Corps, like dying and going there. You know.
Right. Fair enough.
I mean, I do see Sasha there. That's a good point. That's one point there. But if I'm not seeing like, you know, John, well, John could be there though. I don't know. If I'm not seeing other people there, then I'm not gonna believe it and just think it's just all figurative. Because for the longest time, we've had these moments where Erwin is talking and, you know, he's not dead, but he's talking and these people behind him are there, and it's just like this powerful image. And to me, it almost loses its impact if it's just, oh, you know, they're still there in Valhalla. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's ridiculous to say, but that's just how I feel. And maybe I'll warm up to it especially if it's true. Especially if it's like confirmed true, I'll be like, yeah, woo, Valhalla,
hell yeah.
But yeah. I mean, I guess sometimes I get a little, not well. I'm against like the fans thinking like, oh, this is for sure what it is, and you can't think otherwise.
Right. Oh no, I'm definitely not like, you know, I totally respect your view on it, because I mean I thought that exact way as well. So I mean it's not, I don't, and it's not like I'm like 100% convinced that this is absolutely true, but I'm very much, you know, inclined to think that it is. So
why is a horse there?
I guess it died. No, but it's actually,
why aren't
the
there
horse,
like thousands of horses?
I know why, actually, because the guy who's by the horse is the guy who has his hair pulled out by that horse. If you remember.
I don't actually.
In the early female Titan arc, he kind of instructs the new Survey Corps recruits, and he's wearing that bandana because he's bald, and he's bald because his horse eats his hair. It's one of the funniest shit.
I forgot about that.
He's a very small character, but
so it's
funny.
there just to be like, oh, you remember this guy? Okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
The guy and this horse.
It's like, why do you get a horse? Why does this guy get like a drink?
And I mean, the horse probably died too, I guess. And the horse can't be an Eldian, so this must mean that if this is actually an afterlife, then it's not.
Right, the horse can't be an Eldian.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly.
No, but
so then why aren't there other people there?
Because there doesn't need to be. Like the ones who go meet Hanji when
if he's trying to say that there's Valhalla for everyone, including this horse,
yeah,
who died in combat, then why isn't there, like, you know, all sorts of people who are?
Well, because so right here are only the people who wanted to go greet Hanji, welcome her.
Well, of course, there's only people who wanted to greet Hanji, but like, you know, why isn't there like in the background? Why are there like thousands of people?
Oh, dude, they're far beyond the horizon. This is a big afterlife.
Okay.
Anyway.
But it's fun. It's a fun discussion.
Yeah,
it's fun,
absolutely.
and I do see where you guys are coming from. I really do. I just don't want to be. I don't know. I don't want to jump on a theory just because a lot of people say it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. And you know, you definitely shouldn't. But I thought it was very interesting, and as I said, I have definitely been sold on it by now.
Right.
Anyway, predictions.
Hell yeah.
Do you have any?
Yeah. I kind of said one of mine already, is that there would be some talking with Armin as he tries to take in the fact that he is the leader now.
Yeah.
And so either he, like I said, either he will take it gung ho or he will struggle with it, and I think he will struggle with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll have some people cheering him on or telling him like, look, I thought I should have been the leader, but Hanji was the one that made it. You're the one who can do what she said. I can't. It has to be you. And then maybe he'll have a plan.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, another prediction is that they'll make it to the fort, um, but I'm not sure if we'll hear what they have planned yet, or what they're going to do. But they'll at least make it to the fort. But then again, we've seen the rumbling in every chapter since it's started, in Marley, since it's hit Marley. So it makes me wonder if there's even a possibility of them having a chance to, get to the fort and not have Armin or not, the Titans just breathing down their necks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say. But they're gonna be in the air at least, so
Right,
that's good.
but they have to land for the fort, though.
Oh, for
if
sure.
if they got in the fort.
If they want to land, maybe they're gonna do air combat or something. I don't know. No, I don't.
So I
Eh.
guess maybe I didn't explain what I was thinking earlier about the fort. I think that there could be something at the fort that they grab in order to get to Eren. Because I think if you're going to get to Eren, I guess you could fly over some things, but you might need some weaponry just in case. I mean, maybe they're going to need to get through Eren's body somehow. In order to do that, you're going to have some sort of weaponry, right?
Maybe.
Um,
Hmm.
if they're trying to get directly to Eren. I mean, again, we don't really even know what 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 they're going to do,
Yeah.
like, or how they're going to communicate with him, because obviously Armin wants to communicate.
Yes.
So I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, obviously there's a lot we don't know. And going along with what you said, like also what I mentioned a bit earlier, one of my predictions is that when they do get to Fort Salta, that there might be others there fighting also in
Yeah.
other planes potentially. At the same time, I'm not so sure if that would make it exciting, like having characters we don't know at all being part of the climax might not be awesome. Although I mean I don't know, it depends on how he does it. It could also be a
Yeah.
pretty cool feeling just seeing that they're not alone or something like that. Especially since it is like a fort that supposedly has more flying boats. A constant prediction that I seem to have is more Historia, more focus on Historia's thoughts, and yeah, I just want to get inside her mind.
Yeah, I want that too. I just don't know when the right time is. And maybe it is
Yeah.
now. Maybe, they're in the air now, so there's quick intermission. Let's go see what Historia is doing.
Yeah,
Oh, look,
yeah.
Zeke happens to be there.
Exactly.
If Zeke's still around.
And well, actually, well, there's probably not more to say about Historia. We talk about wanting more of her every chapter. So regarding Zeke, since you brought him up, my last prediction is that, and I know this one's a little bit out there, and it's what I kind of teased earlier in the discussion that I wanted to touch on Zeke's situation and whether or not he's dead. I think that, well, as I said before, like he is such a major character, so it would be kind of lame for us to not see his death.
Yeah.
However, the situation where I could see his death being off screen and acceptable is if Isayama decides now after this chapter, if he decides to delve deeper into the idea of Valhalla, and Zeke is going to be there, and there's going to be something about that.
I was jokingly gonna say, they're gonna go into Valhalla, but I felt that was mean spirited, so I didn't say it. I'm sorry. But I mean, hey, if that could be a good thing, like bring Zeke into it and have him in the seeing people in Valhalla. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, if we follow Hanji into Valhalla, she meets Zeke there, dude. I would like
Oh,
if
that'd be
that
kinda
if that
cool.
happened, I would not be sad that we didn't see Zeke die because honestly, Zeke was lying right next to Eren when he transformed into that thing, and then a bunch of Titans started rumbling the world. He very well might have died from that.
Yeah, that would be a great way to send off his death, actually.
Uh-huh.
And if Valhalla is explored in that way, I would be totally fine with it. Totally
Right?
much more acceptable of it.
Hell yeah, dude! I'm
No
I'm
joke.
I'm sensing you're coming onto our side a little bit,
Um,
slowly but steadily.
I mean, I'm always okay if concepts are explored and it's like, okay, this is for sure Valhalla.
Mm.
But when it's more just like, oh, like maybe this could be it. When it to me it feels more like symbolism and just giving closure for a character.
Mm.
Then I'm more apprehensive. But like you said, if there is like a good moment for Zeke, then yeah, I totally be down with that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, I think that would definitely be the way to, or like that would definitely be an interesting way to explore this new
Hmm.
concept if it is true, uh,
And if Zeke is dead,
and if Zeke is dead. But I think it would be very exciting, especially Hanji, like seeing it from Hanji's perspective, kind of. I think would be nice.
I still have questions about Ymir. You know, why did she appear to Ramsey and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So
Yeah.
hopefully we have that answered. But I don't think that'll be answered next chapter.
No,
That'll
no.
probably be something in the later part of the next volume, I
Yeah.
believe.
Oh yeah.
So
Eventually. Hey, maybe that was something Valhalla related, dude. If everyone goes to Valhalla,
I mean, it could be.
huh? Huh? Maybe we're
That would well actually, and I failed to mention this because I guess I was trying to argue against it so much.
ah.
Um, that was actually a thought I had when
Mm.
people brought it up. It's like, well, Ymir did appear. Maybe there's some sort of Valhalla thing going there.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
why would Ramsey see it? Unless it's for everybody.
Exactly. It's for horses, so it's for then that means it's for everybody.
I guess like what's the point of having it though? If I don't know.
I mean, it's for everyone who dies in battle, or at least, or if it's truly like Valhalla. That obviously it doesn't have to be.
Oh, my roommate's taking a shower, so
Oh, it's okay. We can probably end the episode off.
sounds good.
I've said everything I've said. So, um, thank you everyone so much for listening to episode 15 of Titan Tea Time. If you want to talk about Attack on Titan with us and a bunch of other really nice Attack on Titan fans, join our Titan Tea Time Discord. Link in the description on if you're listening to this on YouTube. You can find more of James's stuff on Nintensity on YouTube, where he does gaming related videos, discussions, and fun waifu royale battles and whatnot. It's very, very fun. And you can find me on YouTube and SoundCloud as Leon Morris, where I do, I compose my own music and different things. I sing and I do instrumental stuff. Anyway, links in the description to all of those things as well. And thank you again for listening, and we'll see you all next month for chapter 133. Bye bye!
Devote your heart.
Or,
Sorry.
no,
Were
sorry,
you
no,
gonna say
no,
something?
no, I'm sorry.
It's okay.